Alright guys, so we've just fucking... That's the weirdest thing.
Welcome to the fourth episode of the canopy build. In the last episode we cut the floor out and we start this one by gluing the floor in. After that we finally get started on the setup inside the canopy. Try not to get bored and enjoy. Alright, by tomorrow that should be fairly solid. It's currently 2 days later since I stuck the floor in, so plenty of time to set. The floor is super strong. I can lift the whole thing up from underneath the floor, so yeah, the glue works really well. Not sure how true that is, but if that's true then that's just dumb, because 320 tonne is a lot. The next thing to do is make the walls and the drawer. For the walls and the infill panels, I'll be using 19mm yellow tongue flooring. Only reason I'm using those is because I had a few sheets left over from other projects. Otherwise I might have went with some aluminium sheeting or something like that. If I was smart, I would have marked both of them out at the same time, but you've probably worked out that I'm not. Alright, the wood's cut out. Now it's time to glue the marine carpet on somehow. Probably couldn't ask for better offcuts to press down the glue. I'll get this next one done and then I'm gonna have a fat snooze. Alright, it's now the next day. Fat snooze was achieved and the glue seemed to have dried fairly good. One thing I didn't realise yesterday was how badly the wood was warped. So when I'm mounting it, I'm just gonna have to mount one and then lever it and then mount the next. One thing I want to do before I mount these in, I think, is make the infill panels for those three sections. I've cut the wood 14mm short on the top and bottom and the left and right hand side, because this marine carpet stuff is about 7mm, so once this is covered it should take up the slack on all four sides. Once again, I've proved my idiotness. Somehow that's meant to fit in there with the carpet on the wrong side. So yeah, unglue and then flip it and glue it again.
A few moments later.
I'm actually pretty happy with how they turned out. They all fit nice and snug. I will glue these in, but yeah, they will have to be taken out so I can paint the whole frame first. But now it's nearly 10 o'clock, so I'm gonna have a fat snooze and yeah, either get back to it tomorrow or the next day.
A few inches later.
It's now day 7042. I span the whole canopy around facing the doorway so I can get some natural light happening. I think the next thing I'm gonna do is mark out a square line from that edge to here, because these are warped, so when I mount them on I'm gonna have to pull them that way, and this one I'm gonna have to pull the same way actually. And then for this one, all I have to do is measure the distance between there and then make sure the whole way across that's the same measurement. Right, I've got a line marked out, so that should give me a half decent reference point. Now I'll mark out where these brackets have to go and then I'll screw them on. I'm going to have to drill this center hole out to 11mm, but I'll be using these M8 riv nuts. I've actually used riv nuts before, but I went out and bought this riv nut tool that just goes on your drill or your impact driver. I had 2 test runs, and my very first run I just went full berries with the impact driver and ended up ripping the thread out. So yeah, you have to be a bit careful. I'm bleeding out. This is all sped up. They're all rib nutted and bolted up. They're a little bit raised up off the floor, but I think once I put the marine carpet down, that should fix that. I think I'm just gonna make up some flat bar that bolts up to here and then bends down and then screws into there. So I've already roughly worked out what length I need to make this angle bit. What I'm going to do is I'll cut it slightly longer than I need to. Then I'll put the bend in it, drill the holes, mount it up, and then work out how much excess I need to cut off. Alright, I now have these longer screws, so I won't be using those black ones anymore. So when I pull all that apart for painting, I'll replace it with them when I put it all back together. Both walls are now mounted and actually super conk. So now it's time to mount these drawer slides. Drawer slides aren't the total length of what the drawer is actually going to be, but they were the longest ones I could find. So all it means is when the drawer slides are fully extended, I might just have to reach into the actual drawer itself to get whatever I need. Because these latches are so bulky, when the door is going to be closed, that sticky outy bit is going to be fairly close to the drawer. So I'm going to have to recess the drawer back probably about 80mm to clear it. That line is 70mm from this bit of flat bar. That's probably going to be enough because what I want to do, I've seen a few people link these two tabs up, so you're actually pushing on one bit of flat bar in the middle instead of two individual tabs. So that's one done. Pretty sure it works. I wish I left that plastic thing on the end of the latch, but yeah, that's how it looks. I'll do the next one and then I can start making the drawer. My idea with the drawer is to have like a fairly small wall on the front, and then as it goes towards the back, have it gradually go up to a fairly tall wall. So like, I don't know, like 100mm or 150mm wall. Only reason for that is I don't want things falling down the back and then not being able to get them back. So I've already measured everything out, so I'll start cutting. every piece of the drawer's been cut out, so now it's time to put it all together. Got these bits of aluminium that I'm going to use to make it all. I've already marked out where the holes need to be, I just need to drill them. So you can probably tell that I'm just going to put screws down, and then once this is up, put screws into the side. So I'll drill all these out and then I'll be able to put it together. Alright, the drawer's one step closer to being finished. I'll still put marine carpet on the inside and I'll probably paint the outside black. Alright, I've done some quick mathematications and all those blocks of wood and this block of wood down here all equals where it should be. Well, it does work. It is a little bit tight, but I think that's just because the wood is so warped and impossible to get straight with only 4 mounts. As you can probably tell in the video, that there was a clunky noise and I didn't know what it was, but I've investigated and it turns out it's this little plastic thing. It turns out that plastic thing is just to stop every rail going too far. I'll either groove out this or chop down that a bit. I've taken it apart and I've ground this back corner out. I think the next thing I'm going to do is paint it and marine carpet it, and once I've done that I can properly mount it to the drawer slides, and once I do that, if it still hits after that, then it's always going to hit because I'm not taking it apart again. I don't really care about the drawer that much, so I've only bought 1 can of paint, and if I can't get it done in 1 can of paint, then it's not getting done.
Tomorrow.
The paint didn't turn out the worst, but definitely didn't turn out the best either. Bits of carpet are cut out and now time to glue in. Not sure if this is going to work properly, but I've actually marked out where the carpet needs to be bent and then I just fold it back and clamp it down. This is sort of how it turns out, and the plan is, so when you put it on, if I know how to put it in the thing, you put it in and it just folds around that corner a lot easier than what it would if it wasn't bent. I've done that to everything that needs to be bent, and yeah, once it's all glued in, I'll cut off the excess. Now it's time to take everything off and then cut off the excess carpet. Pranked myself hard as and ended up dropping a brand new tin of paint on the ground, so that's handy as. There was a few sections where the carpet didn't actually stick down, so I've just chucked some nails in there and then painted them. So they're a lot more noticeable on camera, I think, than they are in person. All right, the draw's all mounted up. Once again, my phone died, so I didn't film any of this, but I've drilled out this little bit of angle, so that works as my handle. I did have it riveted in, but I drilled them out so I can paint the angle. As you can probably tell, I took the drawer out and took all the mounts off it so I can paint all them. I think one last thing that I need to do is cut the flooring out of the marine carpet, so I'll do that before I paint everything. So I need to take just a tiny little cut off this bit so I can put it behind this flat bar without it bubbling over. I also need to notch out the two back corners and where these vertical braces are, and then I'll be able to slide the whole mat forward, and that should hopefully clear this bit of flat bar here. The whale tail lock thing, the thing that actually locks up against this, is very close to this aluminium, so if I add another bit of carpet there, it's not going to be able to fit. So I'm going to have to section out where the actual latches go on all three doors. You can see that's sitting a lot nicer now that it's pulled back a bit. Yeah, it's all notched out around those vertical braces and in the corners. Alright, I'm going to end this one here. It's finally starting to look like a canopy now. The next time you see it, it'll all be painted up and everything ready to be chucked in for the final time. I'm probably lying, but the next episode will probably be the last episode on the canopy build. I hope it is, because I'm sick of editing these videos. But anyway, I hope you enjoy. Bear.